the chi. Yeah.
Already. I love it.
All right. So welcome everybody once again to your favorite show, the Ray and Jay Show. We're up to episode 6. I'm Ray,
And I'm Jay.
and we have our special guest over here, Angela Maroosis, and she comes to us with her business, Butterfly Creations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. This is episode 6. So we're having a great time over here on Monday morning. You know, we got all the energy, all the inspiration and motivation that you need to succeed. All right, so talk to us about this website, about this business. How long have you had it?
So I created Butterfly Creations in September of 2022, and it is about empowering people to trust themselves. And part of that comes with really investing in yourself, self-love, care, acceptance, forgiveness, respect. Trust is definitely the foundation for everything that I do. I have a YouTube channel. I also, in 2020, wrote my book, my memoir, Showing Up My Expression of Love. So that is kind of like Angela's superpower. Angela shows up in places, standing next to people who don't necessarily know her, but I always show up. Right time, right place, right person to walk next to people. And that is something that I've done all of my life, even as a child. I am an intuitive channel, which means that I am an energy reader. So I work with people's energies. I work with universal energies, and it's all based in unconditional love. And Butterfly Creations is just that. It's about the changes that we make, the little ones that have the big ripple effects. And as you move forward, they support us in helping us to attain our dreams, to see the reflection of our own uniqueness and beauty in the world. So I started with a YouTube channel and the website. I published my book. It's out on Amazon. It came out January of 2021. And I just keep following my intuition and expanding from there. My mom and I actually did an oracle deck. She did the artwork and I channeled the messages, and it's called What Remains, the Ancestors' Blessings and Wisdom. And it's very simplified, beautiful artwork and questions. Some people use it for meditation. Some people turn to it for answers, but it just asks you to dig a little deeper into your own uniqueness, seeing yourself and valuing yourself, and asking you how you invest in the world in those ways.
That's great.
So what would you say, my good friend, who or what has driven you into this path?
So I felt called to this path really in about 2017 when I had a major car accident. And on the day of the accident, the relationships and people around me, my connections, really reflected back to me that I wasn't connecting with myself or people in the way that I wanted to anymore. And I went through a lot of emotions after the accident. And I didn't want anyone else to feel alone the way that I had been for almost a decade. So I came through this accident and recognized that, I wasn't doing enough to invest in myself. I was investing in other people, which is fine, but my cup was getting pretty empty. And the only way to refill it is to invest in yourself. So through the healing from the car accident and then from a medical condition the following year, that I really started to understand the concept of self-love and care And, every girl likes her spa days, but that's not enough self-love and self-care. Have to really dial it back and see your uniqueness. And so at times it was like reviewing my life and started to see where I could do a better job for myself. And each time I did that, I started to come into contact with other people who I could see. I've always been able to see other people's light, their souls. It's been a gift I've had my whole life. Just didn't really know how to use it until I started to recognize my own light, my own uniqueness, and value it and invest in myself.
That's awesome. That's really amazing because it's like we share the same energy, the same thought process. But what would you feel? I would say, let's say, you're going down this path. Everybody got challenges, and I'm sure your path has not been, as you mentioned, right? It's not been easy. It's been some difficulties. What kept you like consistent and constantly helping you to show up on a daily, even though despite facing these challenges of wanting to quit or wanting to give up? We all get those days.
Yeah, I call them synchronicities. I don't believe in coincidences. They're even in the lowest moments. I will receive what I call the synchronicities. So someone or something will cross my path and it will remind me how I have risen in the past and that I can keep rising. It's okay to have a bad day, but get up the next day and it's like, today's going to be a better day, and make each day a better day. And in some cases, you can rally immediately, but you still need to feel your feelings. So if it takes a full day of kind of, sitting in the juice, then you do. But sometimes you can get those synchronicities. I've had them where it's like, no, I'm not waiting till tomorrow. I'm going to start rising now, acknowledging the feelings, acknowledging the doubts and the fear, and basically then acknowledging all the other times that you rose from similar things. And you're just being asked to rise in a different way, communicate to yourself differently.
Being aware, I love it. Just being really ultimately right, being aware of how you play a role in everything that you do. I mean, we all got a traumatic story. We all something that we've been through or have gone through. And I also feel that it's important for us to have awareness and how do we play a role. And I'm not saying that we're all to blame, right? Because things happen the way they happen, whether it be life, whether it be some form of trauma that you have dealt with. But how do I play a role and how do I move forward from this, right? How do we move forward? How do we, because I mean, it's easier. I mean, I feel, right, sometimes it is very easy to stay in that zone or in that mood or that mindset and to say, well, I have this reason to stay here. I have this reason to not go forward, man, because this happened, that happened, or I'm going through this. It's so tough. It's so hard. So, I mean, I think a lot of us, it's hard to remove those excuses a lot of times.
Yeah, it's remembering that your words matter and they have power, and they're you. And the first person they have the most power over is you. So, you know what I mean? Changing up the dialogue, which is not easy. I can remember, being angry with everyone else. And then you run out of the excuses and run out of people to be angry with. So then you have to stop and hold up your hand, not necessarily saying you're culpable in the thing, but hold up your hand that says, well, no, that's not what's happening now. In the present moment.
Back to you, Ray.
Hello, once again. Welcome to your favorite show, the Ray and Jay Show, with your favorite host, Ray and Jay, broadcasting live from New York and Puerto Rico. And then we also have our great neighbors to the north, Canada. Hello, Canada.
Hello.
Hello. So you have this website, Butterfly Creations. Why did you pick that creature, butterfly?
the butterfly, because the butterfly it's one of many symbols for transformation, but they have an incredible resilience. And after I actually chose the butterfly, I was on vacation in Cuba and there were thousands of butterflies. And so I was enjoying them. And one of the gardeners came along and he could see just the smile. And I was like, you have so many more butterflies than like we have in Canada. And he smiled and he laughed. He goes, they're probably from Canada. They're like you. They migrate when it's cold. And I'm like, really? They flew all the way down here, those little creatures. And it's like, yeah, that's that resilience that when we allow our changes and they're step by step, no matter how small they are, they take us to incredible places and we move ourselves with such distance when we really reflect where we used to be, who we used to be.
That's great. That's great. I mean, yeah, it's a very, I guess you could say magical creature. You know, it goes from caterpillar and then it goes through its metamorphosis and then it has its cocoon and everything and turns into this, you know, magical butterfly, like the monarch butterflies. And I'm not sure about the other species, but I mean, there's many different types. We don't have that many here. We have usually just like white ones and then maybe monarchs and then sometimes the bad luck ones, the black ones, which I don't really like to see them too much, but yeah,
nothing wrong with black butterflies. Black butterflies represent your shadow. That's just where you got to learn to pour more self-love and care and acceptance in.
Yeah.
So, and that's the great thing too about butterflies, right? We all start off as the caterpillar, right? We learn from our parents and society and teachers and different people that cross our paths. But that's our starting point. We have to go inwards and decide and figure out who we are because it's our choice. We define ourselves. And so when you make those changes, when you invest in the things that you value, that's investing in your worthiness, then you have those wings because the caterpillar is kind of given only one perspective, crawling around. The butterfly can walk and fly and change places and move around very freely. So the perspective changes. Every time you broaden your perspective and your awareness of yourself, you free yourself in a new way.
That's right. And so with your business, how do you help people out? Like what are some of the things that you do for them?
So I have a membership called Curious Butterfly Nation. And so I have the Library of Curiosity, which is I add to it and other people add to it. It's a place to go and just literally follow your bliss. If you're interested in something, try a different kind of meditation, learn something new about different things. And then it's just a taste. Then go out in the world and continue following that curiosity. We have weekly lives. We have message boards. It's a soul tribe community. It's where, it's not just me supporting people. We're supporting each other. We're building a community. And it's a lot of fun. And we celebrate the highs together and we share our best practices for rising from our lows, because it's very important that you're not alone. That was always the key thing for me for a long time, was feeling like I was alone and then realizing, I alone needed to do certain things, but I didn't have to be alone to do it. And loneliness is something that we all struggle with. But how we break free from it is when we actually look around and see how we invest in ourselves and then how we invest that in the world outside of us, in our connections. It makes it really important.
And if the public wants to get more information, where should they go? What are your websites? What are your social media channels?
So it's butterflycreations.ca, which will actually give you links to everything from the book, as well as Curious Butterfly Nation, the information and the link to join. I do what I call refining experiences, which is personal one-on-one sessions. And they can be everything from, talking it out and coming up with strategies to intuitive readings. I also do part of fortune, which is astrology, but it is looking at a placement called your part of fortune, the treasure chest of you, and how it unlocks what you're meant to do in this lifetime, how it helps you to see how you rise. So the information is there, along with all the links for LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook groups, the Oracle deck.
And YouTube.
And YouTube, of course.
Is there Twitter too or no?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Just managing those is.
Yeah. I know. What do you say, Jay?
I think she's awesome. I got a couple questions, and then we can, bring this down to an end. But what would you say would be some words of wisdom for everyone watching? What will be some takeaways you would say for them, for people that will be watching this? I'm sure you can promote this and send it to everyone, but what would be some words of wisdom you would give someone watching?
Yeah, every word and action and intention that you place from the time you get up in the morning to as you go through your day matters to you. And the great thing about being human being is that we can change our minds and we can make changes in our lives that represent who we are in the moment. So don't think that you've screwed up or that somehow you've fallen behind, because it's not a race and it's not a competition. It's about doing things in the way that honors who you are in each moment. And all of these things matter. Your words matter, your actions matter, and the intention behind why you do things matters immensely. So it's okay to do things to take care of you. If the intention is that you're honestly valuing, respecting, loving, and caring for yourself, how other people perceive it, that belongs to them. The intention of doing what's right for you is a good thing and something that we all have to do, because we're in charge. We have to take responsibility for ourselves, and that's how we move forward and we rise.
It's funny because it's almost like you were reading my mind, and my second question was, and you answered it to the T, but do you believe?
Rose.
Yeah.
That's a great look, Jay. Yes, I believe in the power of our words and our actions. Absolutely. It's how we show up in the world. That's why showing up for me is what I call my superpower. It's how I express love to myself and the rest of the world, is my ability to rise and show up, even in outside my comfort zones, willing to stand next to people.
All right.
I apologize about that here in Puerto Rico, that we just literally had a power outage. So dropped internet, power, everything. So I want that to be clear on here. I'm glad. Did you guys get everything? Was that like?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or no?
Yeah. It was
okay.
Good.
All right. Power dropped, so I had to share internet from my phone to here just to jump back. It was weird because I was like, "Oh my god, did we just lose?" Because we literally did. We just lost power. It's a common thing here.
So do you have a third question, Jay? We've answered your second.
That was my second one. It was just pretty much, do you feel, or do you really believe that our words have power? And that was my second question. And you answered it to the T pretty much with everything that you said. So that was amazing. But I mean, you can elaborate a little bit more if you would like.
So actually at this point, I collaborating, the way that you connect with people, when you're taking good care of yourself, it helps to build healthier relationships, and collaborating with other people really is the point, right? we're here in a world with other people. We don't live in bubbles. So we have to learn to not take people personally, even though some will push the envelope. But each time we rise, we find new connections, and those other connections will fall away or will close doors on people. But that idea of really collaborating and building yourself that soul tribe. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's the people that, the families you were born into or the families that adopted you and took you in, absolute respect for them. But when things become disrespectful and hurtful and harmful, then, that's part of our changes is we grow up and take responsibility for bringing in new connections, and being healthy for ourselves builds a place to be healthy for other connections and relationships, how we show up in our careers, in the places we volunteer, in the things that we value.
Awesome. Back to you, Ray.
Absolutely. So how many books is it that you have? Is it one book? Is it various books?
It's one book at the moment, and
Okay.
I am actually been working away on book number 2.
Excellent. And once again, the title of your first book?
Showing Up, My Expression of Love.
And roughly, what does it entail? How long is it?
So it is, it's not overly long. It's about 145 pages.
Okay.
But it's about my journey up until about 2017. And it's about, those situations and circumstances where I learned to rise. So the hurdles in life, the feelings and the judgments I had against myself that I adopted at times from other people through relationships, through crappy situations and bad behaviors on my part and other people's parts, and really just taking ownership, but also showing myself and others, that you can rise. And I have had, a lot of experience. I've had 4 near-death experiences. I talk about them. And I also talk about what I call the book endings, which is experiences that were reflective of what was coming down the pipe at me. So all of my near-death experiences involve the element of water, 2 of them actually in and on water. But water is emotions, right? For me, it's been a very emotional journey. And we all need to learn to value our emotions and feel our feelings. But we also have to learn that we have to release them, acknowledge them and feel them, figure out what they're trying to tell us, and then let it go. And letting go is like a tough phrase. And so I changed that up to allow yourself to move past it, to acknowledge it, but not hold on to it, and move past it in a healthier way, healthier coping mechanisms.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, that's one of the things that I talk to people about is, yeah, letting it go. It's tough at first, but once you start getting used to it, it's a very good thing. I know that, like, me personally, I had grudges with people for years, and in my family it was a tradition to, like, have grudges against people and to act upon those grudges. But luckily now, over time, I've learned that it's just a dumb thing to do, and it's just not worth the time, and you lose so much energy and you attract so much negativity, and it's just better just to stay positive, stay one with the body, with the mind,
Yeah. In my family, my nickname is the Chancellor, and it's because they want, like, they wanted me to step up and do the things that they didn't want to do for themselves. right? To fight the battles, to draw the line. But it gives people a way at times of distancing themselves from taking responsibility for their own choices when they try to hand it over. So, I'm a reformed people pleaser. On the day of that car accident, I took down my United Nations flag and went, no, this is between, a relationship is always between two, including the relationship you have with yourself. The relationship with yourself is who you used to be, seeing now who you are. And it's always between two. The dynamics of family and society make you believe that relationships are much more complex than two. Two is more than enough complex.
That's right. And since we're doing our show live, I think that Jay froze again. That's funny because it's usually me that has the internet issues. It's not usually him. He usually has a really solid connection. And today's funny. Today actually everything cooperated. The computer cooperated, like it usually like freezes up, whatever. So it's pretty amazing that everything's, well, for me, that everything's functioning. I mean, it should, but everything's aligned, everything is one, right?
Yep.
So, do you have any, before we close out the show, do we have any final messages for the general public, whether it's potential customers or just people in general, advice that you have for them, anything you want to share?
Yeah, it's our birthright to enjoy our life. And I don't think that people enjoy their lives and their own energy and themselves as much as they could. So for me, it's about learning to allow yourself to follow your curiosity, which is to follow your bliss. I mean, you can pivot and change your mind at any time, but go out there and see what other things you're interested in. You know what I mean? Create new hobbies. It leads you to meeting new people, to doing new things. There's definitely a need for fresh energy in our lives and the world around us, because everything's been changing, including ourselves. So look at who you've become now and be curious, right? And stay playful and true to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we all have the potential to change and become better, become more positive, help out people more, and do more. That's one of the things that I preach to everybody all the time. I mean, I'm always helping people, but can always help more. I never get tired of helping.
Yeah, and it's the simplest things at times. I mean, there were times in my life where a total stranger smiling at me or opening a door felt like I would live off that kindness for days, because at points everything else felt so unkind. So yeah, smile at people, look them in the eyes, say good morning, say good evening. Even
Right.
if you don't know them, you have no idea what other people go through. And I know it seems really cliche because you see it so much on the internet, but the truth is it takes a lot of voices to have a lot of people hear us when we say, like, the little things matter. They matter to you and they matter to others. So think of how you feel when somebody smiles and acknowledges you, even if you have no idea who they are. I mean, I tell a story about a gentleman on my lake path. For like a year, I smiled and said good morning to him. And he started by like frowning at me. Then he seemed confused. And a year on, he started nodding. And since then, he'll actually say good morning. And it's just like, don't be afraid of kind people. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much sometimes that goes on in people's lives that they step back from connections and they're worried that they're going to get taken advantage of. And I'm like, it was good morning and a smile. It's okay. Just start gentle with yourself and everybody else. And, you'll be okay because you're going to make it okay.
Yeah, that's one of the first episodes we had where we talk about kindness, just being kind to others, doing kind things, helping people, just simple things, and that's great that you said that. And we share that a lot in common with other, positive people, life coaches, motivators. So it's important to do that. I try to do that every day, whether it's virtually or, in person. Um,
Yeah. See, I consider myself an advocate for self-love.
yeah. Yeah, it's important. You really got to love yourself, every day, as often as you can, as soon as you get up before you go to bed throughout the day. It's important.
Yeah, it's the foundation for not only yourself, but how you will move out into the world and reflect that.
Absolutely. I guess our co-host had some issues over there in Puerto Rico with the energy grid. So I guess that I'll have to close it out. Originally we had it that he would, but uh I guess it's up to me. No problem. No big deal. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to your favorite show, the Ray and Jay Show. I am Ray, and for Jay in Puerto Rico, thanks so much for tuning in. You know where to check us out on YouTube at the Ray and Jay Show. You can also find us on LinkedIn. I'm on there. Jay's on there. Angela's on there. Make sure you visit her website, check out her book, call her for a consultation, email her. We'll put the links in the description to all her businesses, her book, her website, her social media. And we want to thank you, Angela, for joining us on this show. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much for the opportunity, and it's great to talk to you guys in a video chat.
Absolutely. Anytime, we're always zooming around the world, and we have a lot of love for our great neighbors to the North Canada. All right. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Bye now.